Welcome back to One on One, New York's longest running sports call-in show. And now we're pleased to be joined by PBR bull rider Cooper Davis. Davis's PBR career began in 2012, and since then, he's won 25 events, has 38 90-point rides, and has recorded 1,529 and a half points in his career and was ranked number 3 in the world in 2021. Cooper, thanks so much for coming on the show.
You bet, man. I'm glad to be here.
So I'm going to start this off with the pretty straightforward question. I'm curious as to where your passion for bull riding came from, and when did you know exactly that you wanted to do this professionally?
Yeah, so I didn't have like a normal background in bull riding or a family that participated in bull riding events, but I watched it on TV as a little kid, and just like a lot of kids do these days, So at 5 years old, I was riding my little rocking horse, thinking I was a bull rider, and when I turned 18, I just I knew I wanted to do it professionally after I'd been on a few calves and steers, and it just my career's evolved from that.
You mentioned that you didn't grow up in a family that bull riding was very big. How hard was it to convince your parents to let you bull ride? And how hard was it to pick up, since it kind of wasn't a family tradition of your guys's?
Convincing my family to ride bulls was the biggest hurdle I had to jump. And the way that I did that, my sister ended up marrying a guy that rode bulls professionally. And whenever I was 12 years old, I said, well, he does it, why can't I? And it was kind of hard to argue that point. So my brother-in-law is the one that really helped me, break the mold of being able to ride.
Now, watching some of your rides, it's obvious that bull riding is no joke. It's incredibly difficult and requires an immense amount of skill. So what do you do to prepare for an event, be it your training regimen or some kind of routine? What does preparation look like for you before an event?
Most bull riders, everything that we do is going to be cardio based, strong core muscles. So day-to-day basis, we're all going to be on a treadmill and basically doing ab workouts. Because if you have a strong core, it's a lot easier to transition your weight from one side to the other on the back of a bull.
You won the 2016 World Championship. The next year, you were the captain of the American team in the World's competition. How important are those accomplishments to you, and what do those mean to you as a professional bull rider?
The things I've been able to accomplish in my career, that's everything that I wanted to do as a kid. I guess one of the downfalls that I see as the downfalls, I did it so early in my career, so I'd always expected that to the next year to be better and better. And the first few years, I accomplished everything that I ever wanted to do. So I'm still looking for that next big thing, I guess.
We're talking with Cooper Davis here on One on One. And Cooper, your career, you have a very interesting story. And as we know, bull riding is a grueling sport where injuries can occur. And you broke your neck at an event at Madison Square Garden in January of 2020. And many thought your career could have been over, but sure enough, you were able to ride again by August of that year. Can you tell us a little bit of what recovery was like in your journey back?
Yeah, breaking my neck in January 2020. That was the first event of the year, and that was kind of heartbreaking because that was the first time that I'd really felt like I had a chance to come back in and win another world title. And so for the next 6 months, I sit around in a neck brace and did every kind of workout that they would allow me to do. And by May, I was able to start working out pretty heavily again. And when you break your neck, you have to have a strong mindset to come back. And that's what I did. I just kept working towards that recovery process. And by May, I was back to getting on lower level bulls. And then August, I was back to riding Unleash the Beast bulls again.
Yeah, so you just kind of talked about the difference in bulls. And sorry for maybe being a bit naive here with bull riding, but can you explain a little bit to people who don't know how drawing the bulls works and how you actually score points in PBR?
Yeah, so the drawing is completely done randomly. They'll do it early in the week at the PBR office. And so there's different level of events. You've got kind of like the AAA event or AAA tour or whatever, which we call the Velocity. That's kind of going on in the summertime, which gives guys, that maybe haven't been riding good or a chance to go and kind of pick up their confidence. So these bulls, they're not going to buck as hard. Doesn't mean they're not good bulls, but you're not going to be able to score as high. So the bulls that kick hard, spin fast, and however you control yourself on the back of that bull, that's how you get scored. Bulls like what you'll see this weekend at the Madison Square Garden, those are the best bulls in the world. And, it's very rare to see those bulls at a lower level event, much less these guys. I mean, it's pretty astonishing what you'll witness here this weekend.
Cooper, as a part of PBR, you've been to various places around the country. We've talked about, you've been to Madison Square Garden, Las Vegas, California as well, traveled all over the country. Do you have a favorite place to ride in particular?
I've got a few favorite places. Vegas has always been one of my favorites, just for the simple fact it's where our finals have been held ever since I've been a part of it. I would say New York, just because Madison Square Garden, the venue is so iconic. And then one that is, one of my favorites is Arlington, just because it's right next to the house.
I've seen a lot of stuff with you online. You're an avid bow hunter, and you even started a YouTube channel with your son. Does the time you spend hunting kind of help you take your mind off bull riding, or as a professional, are you always thinking about your next task in the PBR?
Yeah, I would say, being able to take my son out in the outdoors and spend that time with him, that definitely takes my mind off the bull riding and the job aspect of bull riding, I guess, because you can get so wrapped up in it all year long that it's just not fun anymore. And that's why I started doing it, because I took it so much as a job, it wasn't fun anymore there for a few years. And being able to take those couple months off, it really rejuvenates you and makes you love it, again.
Talking with Cooper Davis here on One-on-One. And, I mentioned in my last question the traveling that bull riders do, but with the travel, it's a lot of time away from home and there's a lot of sacrifices that have to be made. So do you see the immense amount of travel as a huge sacrifice that you have to make, or do you feel it's just part of the job?
It is a sacrifice, and it's especially if you have a family, whenever you're young and you just want to go and have fun. That's what everybody dreams of doing. But whenever I've got a little boy at home and he's got a basketball game that I have to miss, that does suck. And but it's part of the job. I knew what I was signing up for, and they get to travel with me a lot too. And they've got to see a lot of cool things because of the PBR.
Yeah, kind of going along with the sacrifice and everything, bull riding obviously is a very, very grueling and taxing sport. I've seen a lot of stuff that you said you wanted to retire by the time you're 30, and you're getting fairly close to that. What comes next for you? What comes next? Because obviously you need something to keep your mind busy or something to keep generating a little bit of income.
Yeah, so my wife and I, we've been fortunate enough to open a wedding venue. She's pretty successful in her own rights, and we've got a couple other things that we're starting as well. And I don't think my career is over with the PBR after I'm done riding. I think I'll continue to work for the PBR and with this whole new team thing that's coming up in the future. I think that's going to create a lot of jobs for these guys that are retiring and want to continue to work with the PBR.
Cooper, I got one last question here before we let you go. We're entering the year 2022. It's a new year, another year for you in the PBR. So I got to ask, do you have any goals you wish to accomplish for this year in 2022?
Yeah, I want to win another world title. That's always at the top of the list. And then, but it starts off with one event. So if I can win New York this weekend, that's a good start to the 2020 grind.
All right. And that'll do it here. We're talking with Cooper Davis, PBR bull rider. He will be at Madison Square Garden this weekend for his event. Just can't wait to look forward to it. Cooper, thank you so much for being on One-on-One here today.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. And everybody that's listening, come out to the PBR Monster Energy Buckoff at the Garden presented by Ariat. It's January 7th at 7:45 and January 8th at 6:45. So thanks for having me.